Today, I'm talking to Arthur Soroken, co-founder of the AI Futures Fund at Google, which was created to invest in and collaborate with startups by giving them early access to Google DeepMind's latest AI models, as well as resources, technical expertise, and equity funding. Prior to Google, Arthur spent time as a developer and a systems engineer at Cisco and Sun Microsystems. He did an MBA at Cornell and even started his own business venture with Songza, which sold to Google. Hello, Arthur.
Hello. Nice to meet you, Natasha.
Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to start with, as someone that has a job title of Chief Innovation Officer, I'm always curious for people with kind of interesting sounding jobs, which yours is. How do you, when someone asks you at a party what you do, what do you say?
I say I'm a growth hacker so that it really, and then I pause and I wait and people go like, oh, what is a growth hacker? I run a team, a growth hacking team, and I say I have 3 jobs at Google. I have 3. Job number 1 is I run a strategic venture fund, the AI Futures Fund. Job number 2, I run a community of an external community where we can take people and place them on products and have the product grow. As the product grows and goes through the different life cycles, we can have those people grow with them. And then the 3rd job is I do culture hacking, which is how do we across Google improve innovation, speed to market, those types of things across Google. Sounds fancier than growth hacker, actually.
I mean, so you're not just a growth hacker, you're a culture hacker too.
Culture hacker, venture hacker. We just keep hacker in the name.
Yeah, interesting. And what are the ways that you encourage culture hacking within Google? Is Google entrepreneurial?
Oh yeah. So yeah, and especially Google has always been entrepreneurial. And Google has, even with the AI revolution, I feel like it's become even more entrepreneurial. So I work on a team called Google Labs. Google Labs produces things like Notebook LM. It has produced things like Flow, the VO3 movie editor tool. And so the team I'm on specifically, throughout Google, there's innovation happening, but the team I'm on specifically is about taking DeepMind AI model capabilities and packaging them up in products to showcase those capabilities, like Notebook LMs and audio overviews, the Gen AI created podcasts where 2 people they're Gen AI created podcasters and they chat with each other. This one is real, I promise, not a Gen AI podcast.
No, for now.
For now, that's right. And so I'm on a team that is specifically doing that. It is entrepreneurial in the sense that we're 0 to 1. We call it 0 to 1 on the inside is what we're doing.
Okay. I'm wondering how is something like the Futures Fund different from other internal innovation? I mean, I feel like Google has so many different kind of vehicles, but how do you think it's different from other places like Alphabet, etc.? Yeah, what kind of makes it different, interesting, specifically the stuff that you're working on?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, yeah, you're right. Google is quite big. There's a few venture funds in Google. There's Google Ventures, there's Capital G, there's Gradient Ventures. And you look at Labs, and Labs is building 0 to 1 on the inside. It's not a venture fund, but it's a startup within Google. It operates like a startup within Google. I think first thing I'll say is that the venture fund is about, if you take the concept that Labs is 0 to 1 on the inside, the AI Futures Fund is 0 to 1 on the outside. So how do we take bets on entrepreneurs and startups on the outside, and take bets on them who are building and using AI to build the next gen of like whatever the product is. And so it's all about taking those bets on the outside. So we say 0 to 1 on the outside. But how is it different than Google Ventures? How is it Google different than Gradient, et cetera? So we are a strategic investment fund. And so uh, the traditional venture capital funds, they have LPs, they go raise rounds, they each fund has a series of LPs and they've raised an amount. Instead, we're on the other side. Oh, and they're not just AI focused. They're not AI first
Yeah.
focused. Although with the
You're
AI,
just AI focused.
we're just AI focused is number one. And then number two is what we really care about is how do we take DeepMind, these like I said at a very interesting point in the company where I'm taking a look at Google DeepMind and the model capabilities and the tech that's coming, and how do I find companies out in the wild that are building towards that to showcase these capabilities. And so, I mean, similar to Labs' mission is as well, of like the notebook LMs and the flows, et cetera. And so I'm looking for these companies that are innovative and building towards these, can integrate these advanced capabilities, AI capabilities, model capabilities. How do we get them in the product to like help these teams progress faster?
Yeah.
Or and so that I would say that's the second thing is we're very AI focused first. We're strategic, so we're trying to build Gemini mindshare. And I'd say that the third for us is we're a really good. One of the things that's core to how we operate the AI Futures Fund is if you take the idea that we're investing in these companies, AI first companies, taking DeepMind model capabilities and putting it in, it's also a really good feedback loop. So we end up being a very good feedback loop of what's working, again, cutting edge stuff, what's working, what's not working, and how do we make our model better for their use case, but also just for the general population. How do we make these models better? So we're kind of right in the center of this bidirectional feedback. I say last one I'll say is most venture funds don't do this, traditional venture funds, but we co-develop with these entrepreneurs. So we're sitting with them day in and day out. We're sitting with them to say, what are you trying to build? Hey, this new model capability is coming. What if we built this together? What could that look like together? And so we're co-developing with them, which is very different that's very
Yeah.
hands-on and very different.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. So many interesting things because in a weird way, there's a little bit of a kind of, it's a sales tool, then you amplify and you actually help them accelerate their business as part of the kind of investment. What are areas, I'm sure there are, so many people building within an AI first company. What sort of areas are you particularly interested in looking for, types of companies to invest in?
Yeah, it's a good question. So within Google, we kind of look across these different sectors of AI, or we call them futures of AI.
Mhm.
So the futures we're most interested in and kind of developed our thesis around is, and by the way, it's just definition of future. It's for us, it's like where is the future of AI going, or how can what we're doing advance the future of this AI capability? So from our perspective, the futures are the future of entertainment, the future of creativity, the future of productivity slash work, and the future of software engineering. So each of the companies that we've invested in to date align to one of those futures. Now, those futures are very broad; they're very 30,000 foot, but those spaces are very interesting, moving very fast, and have a lot of room for improvement. And if you just take entertainment specifically, you've seen, just in the past few months, just recently, you've seen, feature films trying to be built. You've seen collabs with film directors and producers to use VO3 in the film production process. And so it's incredible. These spaces give us enough room to play, but also are like really up for AI disruption, and we love playing in those spaces.
Yeah. I mean, VO3 is amazing. And yeah, I mean, I'm within the kind of brand and marketing world. So we're already seeing, technologies like this
Good.
impact production, the creative process, as well as a whole host of the ways we go about the back end, but literally the creation process. How do you think? brands and creators should be thinking about these technologies? Like, what are you excited about?
Yeah, I'm really excited about, and I think at Google and even in the Futures Fund, what we focus on, really excited about how brands, creators, etc., are using the technology as a co-pilot, not a replacement, but a co-pilot for what they're doing. So how do we enhance the thing that we're trying to do? And I say that in the sense of, you know, no one loves, or very few people love futzing with a tool, and very few people love that, you have to, when you're designing this thing or you're building an ad campaign, that you're trying to get it to tweak it to make it look right, and the color schema is right, and the messaging is right, and all of those things is like the labor behind it. But imagine you can use these AI tools as a co-pilot to focus on the deep thought. Like, how do we land this message with the right user? How are we finding, like, letting AI do the market analysis, which is the thing some might love it, but how do we do the market analysis to then do the deep work and the deep thought about how do we create engaging, beautiful products for end users?
Yeah.
How do we tell that beautiful story for an end user? And I feel like that's where I think the space is going, is having these like co-pilot tools
Yeah.
to help you.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a more for the
I lost you for a
marketing
second, Tasha.
industry. I think that's probably a optimistic, uh, more optimistic kind of viewpoint than a Mark Zuckerberg, which is going to do everything. But it is, yeah, it's interesting. I mean, we've definitely been playing with how you use it. How do you optimize what you do? I'm sure you've seen examples of like, like the IKEA box ad where everything explodes and then suddenly there's that by about four different brands. So everything starts
Yeah.
looking. So how do you actually not just
Yeah.
use it to create, stuff that looks the same, but actually amplify creativity, I
I
think.
love that. Exactly. And I think that's where the definition of a creator, or the job of a creator, is to create new, exciting, different, something that speaks, something that doesn't look the same across the board. And AI tools are allowing the creator to do that. But on the other end, which I love as well, is we're also, democratizing to some degree.
Yeah.
We're democratizing the access to what people have access to. So
Yeah.
there's fear, obviously, on one side of, you've democratized, you've given more people access. What happens? But there's the exciting narrative as well of, you get more people the opportunity to come and play, and you get diversity in thought, diversity in creation, diversity. It's very, very interesting. So we're seeing a lot more people pop into the industry, and are bringing unique perspectives. I always have this joke of like, you have now an anthropologist or an anthropologist or a doctor now coming in and being a creator as well,
Yeah.
and giving a unique perspective of how they use these creative tools to create short films or ad campaigns or market branding, etc. So I love that aspect of, give the people the tools and see what they can do, and it's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. The democratization is amazing. And I have kids, and every time I see how easily they create something that actually, 10 years ago, it would have taken me a while to create like a keynote or something. It's just insane.
Same.
But have you been seeing ways in which AI can kind of enable a new kind of branding experience, like dynamic branding, a shift in how you create relationships and use this technology to build engagement?
Yeah, I mean, I from a few different angles, I'd say that, you know, what we don't know yet, or what we're seeing, is um what the model is capable of is still open. And so I'll just give like a few examples. We started with natural language, typing, talking, etc. Well, I'll even go typing. We started with typing. You type, I need you to create this image for me. I need it in this style. So we started there. And then you've even seen just recently in the past few years, you've seen so we've gone from text to image or text out to now we're sending images, so it's like less of a prompt. So we're like sending these different modalities in to the model to get creative output. And what like we have a product called Whisk in labs that does that. So it's like removing the complexity of prompt engineering. But then if you think like just recently we, somebody had taken an image and had drawn on the image and it said, I want you to, you know, it's a space scene and I want it to the spaceship to land here and then I want it to transition here, and they had drawn this on top of the image and they had uploaded that to VO3 and it followed those prompt instructions. And so I think we're still in this era of what are the models creatively capable of, and are there interesting ways to prompt these models to get the output you want? I mean, we're watching people just on the AI Futures Fund side. We're very interested in the gaming space right now.
Yeah.
We're looking at it heavily, and we're watching people build full games just from doing like JSON file dumps, like taking a big file and saying, this is how I want the game to look and to operate, and doing these big dump files. And now they're having fully functional games that people can engage with. And every gameplay is unique, etc. I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't think we've begin to exhaust the ways we're engaging with these models and what they're capable, what they're able to output and capable of. It's incredible.
Yeah. I feel like some of the world models using things like Genie 3 are just, you can see the potential for interactive and gaming experiences. Um, are there any other, beyond like gaming and entertainment, do you see other kinds of practical applications that people
Yeah.
aren't using
Yeah.
or thinking about as much? Healthcare, I don't know, what else?
Yeah.
Robots.
Yeah. So yes, I'd say there's a few fields that we are uh looking at on the futures fund side of the house that we're looking at. So robotics is definitely something that's very interesting. How do we pair these models and put them on robotic devices so that we can use natural language or AI processing to have them engage with real worlds. We're also looking at um, different countries and how they digitize health records is like another space that we're very interested in as well. So we're looking at a lot of companies in India that are doing literally this. And you have to imagine that the gap from where they are today of handwritten paper digital records to, or handwritten paper records, to how do we digitize this and use AI to get the accuracy up. Um, we're also looking at two fields that we actually have invested in to date. Is software engineering, and so we're starting to see this push through text to app creation. So how do I build a website or an
Yeah.
application or a mobile app, etc. So I'm very excited about this space. As an engineer myself, very excited about this space. There's Lovable, Replit, Cursor, all these companies
Yeah.
that are doing this text to app is
Yeah. The
incredible.
no coding is amazing.
Yeah, the
Again,
low
the
code, no coding.
democratization. Yeah.
Exactly. And then I'd say, a space that we also have been looking at very closely is, let's take some fields that we've taken fashion as a field. We are looking at a company now that is, how do you use AI to take a look at your wardrobe and do recommendations on your wardrobe. So the spectrum is quite wide of what we're interested in, what AI is able to augment. But so we're looking across, again, those futures of AI. We're very interested across the spectrum. But again, I'd say just we are very interested in or very excited about software engineering, entertainment, creativity, and then the last one, sorry, is productivity. And what does productivity mean? It means something different for everyone, but the idea is, how do we again remove the the mundane, the thing that you don't love to do, booking meetings, putting things in spreadsheets, take that, those manual
Yeah.
repeatable processes, and how are we finding companies or building products with AI to automate that so you can do the deep thought, the real human interaction stuff that you do day to day.
Yeah. Okay. I was listening to you talking on a podcast about balancing the negatives of AI with the positives, and I'm just curious how you think about safety or you know impact of AI on society, culture. How do you think about that? And is it a formalized kind of set of criteria or rules? Like, is there a policy or it's more kind of gut?
No, there's a lot of different there's a lot of different things that go into creating a safe model. And there's um there are benchmarking standards that we have to abide by. It's like internal things we must do. So there's safety and eval testing, red teaming, etc. So they make sure the models are appropriate. There's policy around what models are appropriate for which age groups, and where do we not go after that. So there's policy around that. This is internal. And then I love this. There's this external as well. There's an external factor of, you put something out. You do your best to make these things safe, and then you put something out into the wild, and making sure you have those communication mechanisms for people to talk openly and flag these things that are producing content or quality that is not suitable. And you can't stop that, right? There's lots of there's you do your best in trying to keep up with the standards, but putting it out on the public and having that communication channel is super super critical and key. And also making sure you have the right people who are listening to that to incorporate back into the as feedback back into the model. Like AI Futures Fund is like a great example of a place where that is like our job, is to sit at the center and be that bi-directional communication channel. But again, across Google, we're doing this. This is very serious for us. So there's like that narrative of like, safety and how do we look at it. I think, the on the other side, I think the thing that gets lost a lot, it's good that there's this open conversation about, let's be careful. These models, they're very powerful and they can do a lot of things. We can talk about a list of things that can harm society: job loss, inappropriate content. There's a huge list. We don't do enough of talking on the other side of how have we opened up opportunities for people who didn't have these opportunities before. They didn't come from, they didn't have the expertise or the economic means to go to university to study machine learning and AI for a long time, or software engineering, but they have a passion to start a company. It's like, how many solopreneurs now have we enabled to start companies that were not able to do that before? It's like we don't have enough of that. Or how do we take things, again, I always come back to this message of like the things we don't love to do. How do we dish that off to an
Yeah.
AI or an AI model to like do the things we do love to do? And so how do we allow AI to take in the things we don't love to do so that we can spend more time with our loved ones and our kids and all those things? And so we don't do that list enough. And so I think both are important.
Yeah.
But at Google, definitely take this very seriously, and lots of policies in place to make sure that we're doing the right thing. But it is important that we have that channel open, that the community can talk
Yeah.
about this openly, right?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely get the impression that somewhere like Google is actually more thinking about these things and has more checks and balances than most companies. What are the things that you think are most worrying about the future with AI? What keeps you up at night?
Yeah. Oh God. keeps me up at night, I would say there's a lot there's a lot we don't know yet of the capabilities and the power and how how the model is used. So um I think that's number one. Is just there's a lot, like people are starting to push the models in ways that we haven't seen before, and so I'd say that's number one.
Such
Um,
as what sort of things?
Again, I like the, this is a good example, but the taking that image and drawing on it and pushing it to the model, and like how did the model respond? Or let's take an image, a list of images as our prompt, and let's see what it outputs. Like, is it new? Is it how is the model going to behave for these things? So I think it's like still exploring what's capable of these models is keeps you up at night. Like I it and maybe that's lean more on the positive side of it. I think on the, the other side is I start to look at as lots of other people come into this market as the models and processing gets cheaper and other people come into the market where they don't have the teams or the regulation to regulate these systems. What does that look like? What does that look like? And there's lots of companies who have entered the ecosystem. There's open source models, although I would say open source typically ends in the good, but open source models, and like how are people going to use these models? Where's the regulation happening? Where's the policy happening at those
Yeah.
levels? So I definitely think about that, especially as things get cheaper.
Yeah.
Um, I think the workforce, how does that change? I think we'd be, you know, it would be silly for me not to call that one out, right? I think it's the thing that's top of everyone's mind. We're definitely starting to see where the quality, although still has like a lot of room to grow, the quality is sometimes starting to change how businesses operate. And with VO3 is a great example. The how does the film industry get impacted by you have this flow tool in your hand and you're able to create video content. It definitely changes the game. I think I look at that to I look at that and say, you know, yes, it would probably change, but is the change for good? And I think the answer is yes. And I think we've seen some new participants in the market. We've seen big movie developers saying, "Hey, am I going to build this scene that costs lots of money over here, or am I going to use VO to create this scene?" I think we're starting to also see, again, I lean on more on the optimistic side of the house, but like we're starting to see co-pilots, not replacements ever. Because the artistic
Yeah.
creative or the director, they have visions. They have these like big visions that don't exist anywhere. And so it's like still having that person or that team in the driver's seat to relay that vision is still critical, and models haven't been very good at that. They're very good as a co-pilot. But again, it changes industries. And
Yeah.
so yeah.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, I think you can already see, yeah, huge changes that are going to happen in creativity and, production and making stuff. And whether I'm sure there'll be a lot of those kind of visionaries at the top, but I think a whole layer potentially is taken out from advertising agencies to TV production to who knows. Well, it's definitely going to be interesting. And you've seen it in other, like, it's funny. I think of a friend of mine who, did sound engineering at college years ago, and then left college, and then sound engineering doesn't exist, because you
Yeah.
technology. And I think there's going to be lots of things like that are going to be
Oh yeah.
refocused.
I
Um,
think you're right. You look at the Industrial Revolution, like it
yeah,
changed society
yeah,
overnight. This is a big moment. I
yeah,
mean, it's a big moment, and it will definitely change. And does it, like the Industrial Revolution, create new opportunities as well? And I think that's the bet. That's the hope, and that's the bet. And that's yeah.
yeah. Um, big. changes. Obviously, in the last like week or two, there's been a lot of chatter about the huge salary packages being offered to AI superstars. I'm curious what you think in terms of advice for people trying to work in this space. I'd love to hear, what kind of skills or experiences or things to do if you want to get into AI. What's your advice?
Yeah, I mean, I'd start with it's playing with the tools. So let's start with the simple stuff. It's playing with the tools. It's um, you know, I like to God, my wife will kill me and family will kill me, but it's like I write that next birthday card or that anniversary card by using AI so that I can test the tools. Can it get my voice right? So it's break these things, play with them, break them, push the limits of them. Um, I'd say that's number one. It's like, and just throughout my career, I've always been a starter, a builder first, and then figure out the rest later. So I'd say getting into this, know the tools, play with the tools. I'd say second is, this term prompt engineer was created a few years ago. I think it's creator prompt creator now is or creator engineer is the new thing. I'd say make yourself familiar of how do you get the output you want? How do you coach this thing to get the output you want? I'd say the last thing is we live in a really unique opportunity to start something. So tinkering is fun, but I also come from the world of like start something, build something, launch something, get your first users, talk to your users. I really lean into that of build and launch. And I'd say if you wanted to get started, that's the way to do it. There are trainings you can do, there are readings you can do, there's social media, you can go down rabbit hole after rabbit hole on that. I really believe in just, especially with the access, the easy access to all these things, is just play with them. Just play with them, tinker, launch, get some users, figure out the rest later.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. Just try, just start. I hear that across a lot of the people that I've spoken to. What was your trigger for starting Songza?
Oh yeah. So I
And what
so
was, for everyone, what was Songza?
cool. So I before Songza, I was in grad school and I was sitting I was in line I was at this bar and I was sitting in line for the bathroom, and a few people come up and they play a great song on the jukebox, Journey's Don't Stop Believing. Great song. We love it. Everyone loves it. Fantastic. Song ended and they put in another quarter and they played that song again. And I thought like, oh, it's still a great sign. I'm in line for the bathroom. Like, I have to hear this again. I like, this is fine. And then the song ends and they play it again. And I thought, you know what? I'm done. Like, how do I
No
democratize
more
the
journeys.
music? Like, I'm just like, I love this song, but I'm starting to hate this song now. Like, let's change this. How do I democratize music in this room right now? So that's how it started. The idea of I want to give everyone the power in this room to control the music in this room. And it was like a silly thing. And I was at
Yeah.
Cornell, I was in grad
Mobile
school, out of a
jukebox.
jukebox. How do I create a small, localized jukebox that anyone can control in this room? So started, and I was at a startup event. It was like a 3-day startup event. That was happening the following weekend. I go to that event. I pitch this idea. No one wants to work on it. I said like, oh, this is a bad idea, but I love it. And so I'm going to work on it myself. So I go and I build the first iteration of this. And as we're demoing this thing on stage, I had talked to that bar that I was in, Silky Jones in Ithaca, and I had said, hey, I am going to put this system in, and everyone in that room that I'm in pitching this idea to at the startup, they're going to be able to control the room, to control the music in this room. So anyways, that day, literally after that presentation, somebody said, hey, I have somebody that is very interested in investing in you. You're incredible. I'd love for you to meet in Grand Central Station this weekend. Can you get there? Didn't have a car, had to take the train in. And so I get there, and this investor, quite reputable, says, I'll write a check now. Like I don't need to see the pitch. I love this. Let's talk. It's crazy, crazy. So anyways, that company was called Sonic Panther. So I had started this, ran it for about a year and a half. And at the end of that, going to raise money, and I had met the Songza team. And so I'm not one of the original founders of Songza. I'm an early employee of Songza.
Right.
And so had met the team. We were all in the music space. I love Elias Roman, the CEO of Songza, an incredible human. We got along, and he said, "Hey, I would love for you to join our team. Let's do this." So we merge. I joined Songza, and a year and a half in of being at Songza, Songza is acquired by Google.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good. It wasn't a bad ride. Pretty crazy roller coaster. And I've been at Google for 11 years since. So I've been here quite some time. And Elias is still at is still at Google. Most of the team is still at Google, which is the power of Google. And you talked about like earlier, it's like entrepreneurial pockets at Google, like startup people end up at Google and stay at Google. And so it's got to feel startup for us to stay. And I've stayed ever since.
It sounds like you've
and so
also
yeah.
had the chance to kind of create the job or multiple jobs that you want.
I did. So and then I'll talk about what Songza was, but yeah, multiple jobs. So I was traditional jobs for quite some time. So yeah. Songza was a concierge for music. And the idea was like, you could play music playlists. We could find you a playlist based off of things we knew about you, the time of day, the weather, an event that's happening, and you could find a playlist that met you. So it was like, it's Friday night, you want to party with your girls, find a playlist for that. And you would go down and choose, and it would find the perfect playlist for you. So at Google, after the acquisition, I was attached to Google Play Music naturally. So the acquisition happened and we were on Google Play Music. Google Play Music merges with YouTube Music. So I'm on YouTube Music for some time. I'm then thinking like, I think I'm ready to go start another company. This was fun. This is great. Google Play Music, YouTube Music, beautiful places. Not for me. I'm going to go start something else. And then my first boss on Google Play Music said, "Hey, I'm moving to accessibility. Will you come with me?" And so I said, "Sure." Love that manager. Incredible person. And I went to accessibility, making products for people with disabilities. Knew nothing about that space. Fell in love with it, stayed for quite some time. And then I'm asked, then I'm getting itchy again. I think I'm ready to go. Like if my entrepreneurial mind is starting to think about what I could do. And then I get asked to come to cloud. So I'm running like infrastructure. It's like couldn't have taken a harder pivot into non-startup land. So I'm in cloud. And then Elias calls me and he says, "Hey, Area 120 is a place where it's an internal incubator at Google. Will you come be my ops partner in Area 120? And so I come to Area 120 and now I'm investing in Googlers who want to start their ventures, not leave Google. They're like me, don't leave Google, come, stay, we'll invest in you, invest in your future. So I'm there for a while. And then Labs opens up and here I am now. AI Futures Fund, culture hacking, growth hacking. And yeah, I've been in Labs for almost 4 years now.
Yeah, amazing. So you did Sun and Cisco. Why did you decide to do an MBA?
Such a good question. So why did I do an MBA? I was at Sun my senior year of high school, and I'm from Fremont, California, which is very close to Menlo Park. And Sun, by the way, just for all of your listeners, Sun Microsystems is Facebook took over that building in Menlo Park. So now it's Facebook. It wasn't then. So I was at Sun. I was exploring. I wanted to be a software developer. It was like my first stint at it. And then I go to undergrad. I then at the end of undergrad, I'm thinking like, I gotta make money. I don't gotta make money, want to keep this going. So I go to Cisco Systems, and it was a sales program. Actually, I'm a technical sales program where they send you to North Carolina, you stay for a short period of time, stay for a year, and then they place you after that. So it was like a program, they pay you, but then you get placed. And I was placed on the Verizon wireless account. And although it was just crazy. But also it's technical sales. So my purview was how do we build sell Cisco equipment, but how do we build networks using Cisco technology, which is great. So I stayed there for almost 5 years, and like I feel like no one that gets an MBA will tell you this, but majority of people who go to get an MBA, it's for a career change. And so I was looking for a career change at the end. I was burnt out, great company, but it was not my cup of tea. I didn't know it at the time. I was a startup person, but I laugh because I remember saying this to friends and family. I'm going to go for a career change. I'm going to go to Cornell and take 2 years and figure it out. And I remember somebody saying, you're going to take that's the most expensive 2-year vacation you have ever like, what are you doing? That's ridiculous. And it couldn't have been the best thing I've ever done in my life. So I went to get an MBA to figure out what to do next, only to start my first company a week into the program. So it's like, I spent very little time actually in the MBA program and spent more time running my first business, which was totally separate than everything we just talked about, which was taking intellectual property from Cornell University, a device created by the football coach of Cornell University, not even a tech thing, and licensing that technology to build a business around it called Mad Athletic. And you can't see, but I'm 5'5", like 140 pounds. Like there's no football in my genes or blood. And it was hilarious. So going and getting this 2-year expensive vacation, started my first company and then got the bug. And then it's been history ever since.
Yeah. Would you recommend people do an MBA?
I think I think there's a few, if you're going to do, and I would say any masters, I think you want to have a reason. And that reason could be a career change. It could be headspace to figure it out, or it could be I actually have a vision and I'm on this path. And I think as long as even all three of those are totally fine, but I think you want to have a reason for what you're doing.
I must admit, I did a master's just because I couldn't think what I was going to do after university. So
perfect, exactly, even better. Just keep going. But I would say like the beauty of going and getting my master's, and I'd actually be curious how you think about it, but going back to school, it was like the time to do it right. My undergrad happened so fast, and going back gave me the time and I had the knowledge and I had the ability to take my time, get close with my professor. So I'd say it's like not about should you go back or not? It's about how are you going to use that time as well. So like I'm very close with my professor still from Cornell. I'm still attached to the community. My first two companies that I had run while I was at Cornell were completely Cornell students that I started the company with.
So community and network is often one of the
beautiful biggest, and I guess had the time to like sit and go deep on things I never had the time for before. And I love that. But again, it's the most expensive 2-year vacation I ever took.
Amazing. So again, thinking about, obviously you are deep in AI, expert, etc. How do you stay up to date? Are there any podcasts, influencers, Substacks that you follow that people should look into?
Cool. So I spend a lot of time with Rowan Chiang's social plus his daily AI newsletter. I think it's fantastic. I spend a lot of time with Lex Friedman. I think whenever he gets the AI, he had Demis on, he had Sundar on. They're just like within my camp, but he also brings AI experts across the industry on. I spend a lot of time with him. And I spend a lot of time just reading research papers. Probably most of my time. Oh, it can be from anything. So I'm looking at, especially from the investment standpoint, I'm looking at research papers on agentic processes. I'm looking at research papers, and I almost don't care where it comes from. It's just going deep on recent published research papers from either top universities or
Yeah.
yeah. So I spend most of my time doing that to learn about the spaces. Um, but I actually spend a lot of time outside the AI space as well. I'm an Eckhart Tolle fan, Power of Now. I spend a lot of time on the outside since my entire day job is AI. I'd say the thing I learn most is speaking with founders, right? I'm in the lucky position that I get to talk with people who are thinking about this every day and trying to build a business, and they're they think or trying to build the next gen of something. So learning from these people is significantly faster than any other thing.
Yeah. All right. We're going to go to the last kind of questions. Going to be quick fire. Not you don't need to think about it too deeply. We'll start with an easy one. Favorite use of AI?
Oh, easy. Email writing, market segmentation. Yeah.
Okay. Tell me one of your guilty pleasures, if you have any.
Sour Patch Kids. Love candy. Love candy more than anything. I could eat it for dinner.
Yeah, AI can't take that. Okay.
Cannot take that away from me.
Thoughts on Terminator and Skynet?
What's that?
Thoughts on Terminator and Skynet?
I love both.
Is it coming for us? Are you on that side of the fence?
It's coming to give us a nice warm AI hug. No, not coming for us. Just a nice embraced hug, and to be a friend and co-pilot to help us get through our days and our jobs and all those beautiful things.
Totally. Best career advice, worst career advice you've ever had?
All right. Best career advice I ever had. This is a good one. I once had I was once told something in private at work and told not to leak this thing. This was not at Google, this is pre-Google. I was told not to leak this thing. And I went and had a side conversation with a few employees, say like, or a few coworkers, say like, this is the thing, this is happening. And I immediately get this ping from the VP who says, I don't care how you knew, who you heard it from, don't ever do this again. And I remember thinking like, you know what? That is the best advice ever, is to sometimes take information. Not all information needs to be leaked. Not all information needs to be talked about. Like sometimes take like the trust you build with certain people is sometimes more important. So I love that one. Worst advice I've ever heard. Oh God, just so many. Here, worst advice, career advice I've ever heard. Be the first person in at work and be the last person to leave. I think that's the worst advice I've ever heard.
It's good.
And it wouldn't work for me.
What are your superpowers that have helped you be successful?
I'd say I got two. One is I love to tinker. I just have the love and passion for technology and tinkering and playing and taking things apart and putting them together. And so I'd say that's number one. I'd say number two, I love humans. I love the interaction with humans. And so I spend a lot of time listening to people and figuring out their stories and figuring out why they think something is right, and thinking about why do they think this thing is important? Why are they so passionate about this thing? And so it's kind of related to this, but it's like I can also jump onto someone's passion. Like someone can inspire me and I can jump onto someone's passion and be all in on them. So I'd say, yeah, maybe those two superpowers.
Okay. I can see you increasing and amplifying people's passions as well.
Love it. I'm a megaphone for the human race.
Are we going to reach AGI anytime soon?
So yeah, I think this is interesting. I think the definition of AGI has changed so much throughout time. I'd say in some cases, and Demis has said this, but I'd say in some cases we already have. right? Like our models are becoming multi-purpose, able to solve lots of things. But I do think there's lots of gaps. I think there's lots of gaps that need to happen. So I think we're if you think about AGI and multi-purpose and multi-thinking capabilities, I'd say we have reached that. Able to trick some Turing machines to even produce that. But I think there's a big gap in quality still, so and cost. So I'd say we still got time.
What does success personally look like for you?
Oh man, I love this. Success to me is able to, I'd say there's work success. I'm able to use my brain every day to make, you know, bring happiness, bring efficiency, bring AI in a safe way to the people. Um, uh, Democratize AI so more people can get involved and build the things that they love. And then I can go home and enjoy my family and enjoy my kid. And then I can grow up and be there for both of them. And I love that. That's success for me. It's like I can compartmentalize both of those things or join both of those things so that, life is so short. Spend it with the loved ones.
What do you wish you'd learned earlier in your career?
Oh, it's totally fine to make mistakes. Make all the mistakes. Make more mistakes. Be okay with making mistakes. Be self-deprecating in your mistakes. Make it a joke, but mistakes is where it's at. Just go make lots of mistakes.
All right. Tell me, last question. So tell me someone or something that you're professionally jealous of.
I am professionally jealous of my mom. And my mom, and this sounds cheesy, and I am a mama's boy, it is true, but it sounds cheesy. My mom owns a barbershop and has owned a barbershop my entire life. It is her therapy. It is her life. It is her passion. It is hard work. And she comes home every day and is so happy, and she will die. She will tell you this. She will die in that barbershop. And I respect that all day, every day. I think she's an incredible human.
That's pretty amazing. Arthur, thank you so much. This was so fun and interesting. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for listening. Please do take a look at some of the other episodes we've done. You can find them on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or on professionaljealousy.com. Get in touch if you have any questions, feedback, or importantly, anyone that you think should go on the podcast. A quick thank you to the Unreasonable Studios and producer Shimmy Boyle. You can follow me on LinkedIn or on professionaljealousy.com. And before I forget, please share, subscribe, review, all those things, because I'm sure it'll help.